evening, everybody, and welcome to another fine program of the Jimmy Palumbo Show. That's right. Show number 151, getting involved here from the Omni in Atlanta from downtown Mawa, coming to you semi-live from the Average Dining Room Studios, of course, across the glass. Your friend and mine, a guy's been on the show for a decent amount of time now, replacing Chris the Packer Man Gucci. Your friend and mine from downtown Mattawa, New Jersey, Dave Sturcio. Dave, how are we doing this morning from Chop Sports Media Empire, capital of the world?
Yeah, we're good over here, man. It's Super Bowl week. Excited. Got the big game. Got the commercials. Got all that fun shit.
This is show 151. 151 Jimmy Palumbo shows.
One Bernie Williams.
Or even, listen, for you Giant fans out there, one Frank Marion. And Steve Venditti just drove off the road right there.
And you Cowboy fans out there, one Ken Norton Jr.
Ken Norton, another guy I hated. He played for the Cowboys and the Niners. I hated both of them back then.
He's a ring collector, that's for sure.
That's all he did. He came in on third down, got like one or two sacks in a key spot. And he's considered like the Ed Too-Tall Jones.
Hall of Famer.
Of course he is. I tease. Well, all right. Of course, getting involved here from the Omni is our little baseball card thing we do. And again, those of you scoring at home, I have a stack of baseball cards. I just grabbed the card. People say, well, why don't you do like Willie Randolph? Like, no, that's not what it is. But the next week, it could be Willie Randolph. It's got to be the guy on the top of the card. And every now and then, we get some funny shit, and we look at these guys. But this one, though, I think this might be the all-time worst player. This is... If I owned a bicycle shop, I would order this guy's card and put one in every spoke in my shop. This guy, and there's many reasons why, but of course, this is brought to you by Absolute Eyewear in Woodbridge, New Jersey, down by the train station, getting involved. More on that later. We have a little joke about that later.
That's right. Totally
Absolute Eyewear getting involved, our longtime sponsor of the JP Show and Chop Sports. Okay. This guy's name, 1989 card, is Mike Hart. Oof. Now, okay, I didn't know who this guy was. I thought maybe if I'll Google him a little bit, and I remember him. He'll play with the Red Sox or something. This guy only played 2 years in Major League Baseball, okay? Mm-hmm. He played 9 years in the minor leagues. He was a University of Wisconsin guy. He batted 162, only had 17 hits, okay? Played with the Twins and Baltimore. 17 RBIs career, 4 home runs career in 47 games. But he didn't start in 1987, the last month of the season for the Orioles. And he batted 140. So today he'd be making around $9 million a year.
League minimum.
There's so little on this guy. First of all, 2 reasons. There's been 4 Mike Harts in sports and baseball and stuff. So I thought I had some good stuff on. Wait a minute. This guy was born in one guy was born in 93. I'm like, no, I need the shitty Mike Hart from the Orioles. There's even nothing on his card. When a guy sucks is when he has a long, you see how big the line, but it's all minor league. He played with the Toledo Beavers or whatever, or the Bellingham, Peyton, whatever the hell they call them. I don't even know. But he played for University of Wisconsin. And there's I tried to look him up on Facebook. I think I found him, but I didn't get it. I tried to send him a note like, we're talking about you, because I know for a fact his kids don't even know he played baseball. I don't see him coaching anywhere, so that's it. Number 36 for the Orioles. There's maybe a couple of Oriole fans. I would remember. Let me ask you this. Would you remember if a guy, say, 40, 15 years ago, would you remember a guy who started the last month of the season for the Yankees?
Sure.
Yeah, that's
right. Even the good teams, like the Chad Curtises of the world.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So this is Chad Curtis is like Garrett compared to this guy. But I believe if there's an Oriole fan out there, they probably remember starting center fielder in the month of September in call-up month, and he didn't do well, which makes it even funnier. Anyway, but he did hit 4 home runs, I think, in that month.
Hey,
so there you go. So that's it. This is my spokes guy, no doubt, Mike Hart. Who do you got?
Correct. I don't have to correct you because I'm not that guy. But Chris Gucci is famous for stuff like this. When you say RBI, do you say RBIs or RBI?
Well, it depends. Last night he had 1 RBI, but last year he hit 27 RB. You don't say There's the fucking thumb. He got last week. Last week he had 27 RBIs. Yeah, you say with a plural.
No, because it's actually the actual spit is runs batted in, so it's already plural.
No.
Listen, I'm with you. I'm just saying I've been corrected, is what I'm saying. Like he's like, no, dude, it's RBI, and I was like,
no.
But if he had multiple, he's like, no,
no,
it's called runs batted in.
No. Listen to me though. Last year he had 100 runs batted in. Last year he had 100 RBIs. See the difference? Because they're acronyms. RBI. That's how it goes.
I'm with it, but the acronym is runs batted in, not run batted in. So like all of a sudden you're saying that already. You're saying he had 100 runs batted in. So it's RBI.
Don't say, oh well, you know what? Lifetime he had 100 RBI. No, that's not what you say.
I'm with you now.
You don't say ERA. Last year he had a 2.5 ERAs. You don't say that. You don't go
because
to Kmart.
The acronym is earn run average, not earn run averages. That's why it's an ERA. He had an ERA of.
Well, when you spell it out, you don't use. You don't say he had 100 runs batted in
and call it Ribbies. RIBBY.
Ribbies is good.
Ribbies. Ribbies is fine.
Remember the GWRBI stat that came out for a while? Game winning RBI.
Oh, game winning RBIs. Yeah.
And we used to go the go Ribby. 3 guys just drove off the road. You know exactly
half the shit that they come up with. I have no idea what it is. They're like, oh, his war whip.
His whip.
And I'm
his
like,
whip war. What did the guy get a base?
That's why. Did he score? Did he score? Oh, so we lost. Okay, so that's that.
That's why Jimmy Plumbo stinks with stuff like this. I should do the baseball cards. No one needs stats. Just put like 1984. He stunk. That's all you got to do.
I have another question for you. When you drive up with you or by yourself or your daughter to McDonald's or any fast food joint.
Right.
This is my father will appreciate this because I always make fun of him.
This is way more fun than the regular show we're doing.
I know. Like, all right, so when you order a large French fry, how do you order it? Can I get what?
Let me get it. Let me see. Let me get a quarter pounder of cheese. Let me get a large fry. I think I say fry.
My father pluralizes it.
Large fries.
Yeah, can I get large fries? And I'm like, what do we? What?
That's a good one. Let me think about this. Let me get
on that one for a minute.
Yeah, you know what? Do I say fries? Maybe I do. You know what? I don't go to McDonald's that much anymore. Every now and then
I don't either. But
by the way, you know why? I don't know whether to go to a 4-star restaurant in Bergen County or go to McDonald's. Equally as you go to McDonald's now, you order for 2. She's like, that'll be $41.94. I'm like, what are you talking about? I got 2 cheeseburgers and a milkshake. What are you talking about here? I don't know if you've been reading about that. They jacked up their price. It's like $19 for a Whopper. Where are you going with that?
Whopper. First of all, now you're screwing
Whopper,
the 2 chains up.
Big Mac, whatever. Burger King, same way, same shit. By the way, I always thought you take Whopper and the points always covered the spread, but always everybody's like, no, Big Mac attack, yeah, Whopper for 3, good, we're tired of anyone. But the only thing is, and all of a sudden, and as soon as they say Burger King fries check into the game, it's like, ooh, that'll do it here. McDonald's fries backs in 20 for
they'll hang. Burger King fries will hang, but McDonald's fries, it's like that's Jordan.
You can't. Burger King fries are getting like 17.5 points. You can't. That's a complete.
What they're getting or they're giving?
Although, I mean, what I'm trying to say is McDonald's fries rule the world. Everybody else sucks. But also, you know what team does really well? It's like they're like the Pittsburgh Steelers of fast food.
Wait, the original. I'll guess.
No. It's the same. It's in Burger. The Burger King original chicken sandwich always is 9-8, 8-9 with 2 games. Heading into even in baseball with the 4-game series against the Red Sox, if they sweep, they make the playoffs every single year. It's a thin chicken sandwich, pure chemical, pure fried. There's no value. Get that?
So when you go up to the drive-through, you just be like, "Can I get the Mike Tomlin?"
You know what? That's a great idea. You just came up with a great idea. The Mike Tomlin should be something. Like it should be a label on everything. Even if you're looking to buy a house and it's really not expensive, but it's not shitty. You know, we just bought a Mike Tomlin. It's very nice. Matter of fact, Mike Tomlin will be the official next year. Instead of I got Stinks, Average, I think the average house is going to be the Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
No
That's
doubt about it.
perfect.
If
That's
I can
perfect.
remember that in September when I do the list again, I'll hopefully, if I'm even doing the show by then, who knows? But
He's always you're always quitting the show, by the way.
I know,
Every
100
third episode, you're like, I don't know how much more I got on this.
That's so
So
funny.
anyway, I got a card,
All right.
by the way. Much better than Mike Hart, that's for sure. It's a newer generation card. I believe this card came out in, I don't even know, 1992 player stats profile. So it's a 93 card.
You couldn't read the little thing at the bottom, right? The little,
No, it actually doesn't give it. It doesn't give it.
because it's the year after the year.
I'm well aware of that, but it says above that, it
everybody
says 1992 stats player profile. So 92, he started 15 games in 92 and he had 5 wins. Wow, this was positive reinforcement day. They don't even put his losses on here. It is none other than Chuck Finley of the
Chuck
Anaheim
Finley.
Angels. So everybody
Yes.
knows Chuck Finley. He was actually one of my first starting lineup figurines that I had. I don't know why. I was a big collector of those back in the day.
Didn't he play with the A's too? What am I thinking?
According to this one was a California Angels,
I'm
but
thinking Finley, the owner or whatever.
No.
Chuck Finley,
the old southpaw. So.
Yeah. He's the junk ball pitchers. I remember,
ball pitcher.
Fastball's like 72. Yeah, we'll go to the A's, scattering 5 hits again. Guys like that. Those are the guys that A-Rod couldn't hit.
Mm-hmm.
What are you drinking now on my program?
Protein shake.
Oh my God.
Is that okay? Is that better?
No.
Drink a
just
beer?
everything you do is you're half a millennial, you're like a half, I don't know, whatever.
I'm trying to clean up the diet a little bit by doing protein rather than grabbing a slice of pizza.
You ever look
today.
what's in there? There's all kinds of aspartame, ciprulline.
Protein is in there,
It's
man.
also hydroxycut getting involved here. All right. Well, listen,
Anyway.
we don't want to discuss.
Don't worry about it. Hey,
I will tell you this.
I got the
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm boy. Listen, that jug gets paid more than we do. The by the way, those of you scoring at home, just want to let you know, Jimmy Palumbo coming in at 11 pounds less than he was. I lost 11 pounds. God bless America. All right. Well,
I told you that. You posted a picture, or one of the guys, Ryan Mayer, might have posted a picture. I said, "Are you okay?
I'm okay.
You're leaking here.
I'm not exactly. I don't look like a middleweight, but I'm hanging in there. Which brings us to Patreon. We still are at 39 and holding. I want to give a shout out to James Kanowitz. Why? Because he listens to the show and he texts me his opinion on certain stupid things we say. So James, love you. I haven't seen your kids. You got like 90 kids now down there, and hopefully I'll see you soon. And all my Patreon supporters. Just again, some guy said to me a couple weeks ago, and I forgot to mention it. Jimmy, I don't understand this Patreon thing. I guess Patreon sounds like Megatron, Patreon. You got to go to patreon.com, Patreon. And then once you're on there, Google the little search button, Jimmy Palumbo Show.
I'll tell you what.
And you can
I'm going to do you one. I'm going to do you one better. On this show, in the description of the show, there will be a link to Jimmy's Patreon. So it's easy to just click on it, sign up, be Mr. 40.
I'm not. It's people like you're supporting the show. Me and Dave have to pay for certain things, and I don't make a fortune off this show, but I make a few dollars, and that's the way it goes. And support it, and I will mention you like last week, 39, Darryl Strawberry, Kevin Marzola. I had some fun with him, and also Brian Shevlin, Louis Vichamini, Tyson Hogan, of course, your friend and mine, Martin Walsack getting involved. And Will Pena, we can't see him now because we're not quite live. I haven't figured that out yet.
He still watches.
And also Daryl Clark, of course, always thankful. He's sending me some kind of New Orleans cake or something. I love that guy. All right. Well, listen, in other news, let's see. My Rutgers mixed Scarlet Knights. We beat Michigan, but Michigan stinks in basketball now.
Basketball, ladies and gentlemen, basketball.
The good news is this: Jeremiah Williams returns. I don't know if you read anything about this, and this is not a big news story, but the NCAA, the whole NCAA thing should just go away. It's a business now. It's NIL, CBS, ESPN, Big Ten Network. This poor kid, he got involved with a gambling app. Not betting on his own team, it was a friend of his, but he was only 17 when he was on he got caught and they busted his balls. And then he transferred once and then he ended up transferring twice, which you can do now. And then the NCAA was like, oh, we're going to rule on it. A year went by. He's on the Rutgers roster and Rutgers is like, hey, there's going to be a suspension. Let me know how many games. So the kid sat out 30 games this year or 20 games, whatever the hell it is. And then he had to sue the NCAA because the NCAA said, okay, your suspension starts now. He was like, what do you mean? I haven't played in a year and a half. Like, what do you mean? And he sued them, took him to court, and some judge went like, yeah, this kid's been sitting there the whole time. You only get and they overruled it. He played on Saturday, and he did pretty well. So hopefully Rutgers will be a little bit better going forward, but I don't think they're going to do anything. So shout out to that jerk for not the player, but the NCAA.
Say, what do they do, man?
No, shout out to NCAA. They do nothing now. It's a joke. Super Bowl. I got some great numbers in the pool, bro.
I can't find any fucking numbers or pools anymore, man. Dude, it's so weird. They're not out there all of a sudden.
My numbers are 2 and 3. Solid. Ooh. A safety on the first drive. Field goal's good. At the end of the first quarter here, Super Bowl. It's 49ers 3. And, listen, and the Chiefs, too. For a second there, I forgot it was the Chiefs. How dare me. My nephew's going to the game. My nephew put a bet. I'm going to go public with my nephew's bet. He made a bet that the Chiefs make the Super Bowl. He wins a certain amount of money. Then he put another bet the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. So he won the first bet, which is paying for his trip to go there. And now he's got the Chiefs winning it. So he wins and the whole thing will be paid for and some profit. But I love my nephew. He knows it. But I can't take the Chiefs anymore. I just the Kelsey, Taylor Swift at the Grammys. For no reason. You know what? Taylor Swift is actually a pretty good businesswoman. She's a little bit of a badass. And Kelsey is, I don't like this talk of him being the best tight end ever. I think there was another guy on the Patriots I thought did fairly well for a while there.
Who should be really kicked off the air, by the way. He is the worst broadcaster I've ever heard or ever seen.
I'm not willing to give Kelsey, I know it's close. He's up there for sure. But I think on a team that passes 50 times a game and you have Mahomes, I'm not willing. Listen, I'd rather have Bavaro than Kelsey, but different times. But when I hear that Kelsey
3rd and 18 now and a gain of 19 by Jason Witten over the middle.
Jim Gordon used to be like the Giants defense got the Cowboys backed up 3rd and 19. And, Danny White was it Danny White?
Danny White, wow.
Danny White rolls right, fires over the middle. Witten gets it only for a 7-yard gain, rolls forward at it's first down, the Cowboys. You made
the most unathletic tight end look athletic at times.
First of all, we've talked about it. Witten is the greatest player ever to play in Giant Stadium. I don't care what anybody says. And every Giant fan who hates him now that he's retired at 90 years, you like him now. Like it's he's great.
Kind of like how I feel about Eli, hated him as a player, love him as a personality.
So it's great. You forget. But 3rd and 18, Witten, my theory, put everybody on him, and if he gets a pass off, that's how it works. Anyway, so I don't know who I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for my nephew, I guess, and I hate the 49ers, and you know why? And I'm doing this for my cousin John, my cousin Joey, and my brother Frankie. We were season ticket holders sitting in section 306, row 17 and 18, seats 11 and 12, since 1977 until they put that shitty aircraft carrier piece of shit MetLife building up. There was always, when we played the 49ers, there was this creepy dude that used the tickets next to us, Him and his buddy of his, and they weren't dressed right. They weren't wearing 49er gear. They were weird. He wasn't friendly. He would cheer for the 49ers. We weren't. We were young. We'd a basic ribbing, did you come in from family or whatever. And he was not friendly. He was a jerk off. And believe you me, at the end of the game, we would be I go back to San Francisco. I couldn't stand this creep. And he was there for years. And we played some big games.
How many times you played the fucking Niners?
You'd be surprised. And we lost some tight games, last play of the game shit. But we also smoked them in some big games there. Anyway, I couldn't stand this guy. So I've always hated the 49ers, and Joe Montana. And, Montana rolls, right? Although he beat the Cowboys. You got to remember, anyway, I'm not a 49er fan. And now this is a nightmare. Although it's not like the Eagles are in or the Cowboys. But I don't know. I don't really like both teams. I'm rooting, can there be a tie in the Super Bowl?
No, unfortunately.
Anyway, but I actually do think it is a good game. I think most people feel that way. I hope it's not one of those shitty Super Bowls 49-3. It has been all Mahomes. I hope it's one of those good games where we're watching.
It'll be tight.
I think it'll be tight. That's it. In more important news, and why we're spending so much time talking about the Super Bowl, there's a much bigger sports story going on. We are in week 10 of your New York Knickerbockers being, I think, they're the best team in the league right now.
Well,
No,
you know what? I had a Jimmy moment on Saturday night. Or was it Saturday night or Friday night? One of those 2 nights. Whenever they played the Lakers. I think it was either Saturday or
But
Friday.
you knew we were going to lose because LeBron.
Well, not even that. Not even that. It's like the Knicks have been rolling, right? So it's like a lot of fun.
Right.
We're getting extra good basketball. Brunson's a star, right? You got all these other guys. Josh Hart's my favorite Knick right now. When they lost to the Lakers, I pulled the Jimmy on the couch. I said, that's a bad loss.
That's a bad loss.
Like,
right?
That just feels shitty because it's fucking LeBron and he's
LeBron and LeBron.
years old.
By the way, LeBron's 59 years old, and he like. How about these Knicks fans saying, "Oh, we don't need LeBron"? I'm like, what do you mean? He scores 20 when he cares. He scores 25 points a night. LeBron James is the greatest of all time because he's still playing. I don't like. Remember, Tiger Woods was good in golf like 40 years ago, like in the 70s. LeBron is still playing. I mean, Kobe came and went. LeBron's still playing. I don't understand why people. This is like this is the equivalent of Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't get into the league until what, he was 24? LeBron already had like 7,000 points by then already. He's still playing, and the Lakers make the playoffs, and they win playoff series. It's unbelievable. I hate the guy because he didn't come to the Knicks. But you know what? When I heard about these trade rumors, I'm aging. If we get LeBron James, I will go get a Knicks jersey immediately.
They'll put a statue outside the Garden without even doing anything.
Can you imagine? Brunson brings the ball down, bounce past LeBron, turnaround jumper. Yes. Oh, freak. Now, here's another thing about NBA I hate, okay? Bitter Jimmy. I don't follow the NBA like we do NFL and you get alerts on your phone. I'm watching a Knicks game, and I guess I fell asleep at the wheel. I admit it. Also, I'm like, wait a minute. The Knicks, where are the Knicks? Where are all the where's the team? OG was out, Grimes was out. Like the Knicks are like, and they triple teamed Brunson, and they still almost won. They were up by 6. And then I listened to the fourth quarter in my car, and the announcer's like, Knicks have gone cold here. And when my teams, here's a rule. Listen, this is for all my fans on Patreon. When my announcer of my team says Rutgers has gone cold here, Giants have gone, that doesn't mean like the last 2 series, 3 and out. That means something catastrophic, newsworthy has happened. Knicks just won for 19 and over the last 4 minutes. Like, it's not just like the last 3%. It's catastrophic when my announcer says they've gone cold here, just like my podcast. Anyway, it's great to have the Knicks back here at Shea. I'm doing Mike Hart. My love-hate segment.
Any relation to Josh? Any relation to Josh Hart of the New York Knicks?
Listen, I still think Joe Rogan's shaking in his boots when he hears my voice. Bottom line is, chasingmiracles.com. That's right. Shit your body needs here at Shea. Chasing Miracles stem cell patches, the immediate effect on your body to repair anything that's wrong with it. Of course, better energy. It's non-invasive, no needles. Give them a call. Donna and Tommy, they distribute this stuff. It's awesome. My mother uses it. I have them on right now. Natalie's mom is going to be using it with her knee. People are really totally digging it. The research is there. Google it. It's all Olympics. People use it. Serena getting involved. Michael Phelps, the whole bit. Some wrestling guys use it as well. ChasingMiracles.com. Check these things out. They're easy to put on. It's non-invasive. It works. Well, of course, it's time, sponsored by cornholelevel.com.
Is it that time?
Is it that time? Do we have a little
time.
Should we have a little music coming in? Like,
yeah, some kind of all right. Cool. Jimmy's credits. This is my new favorite segment. My new favorite segment of the show.
We've been getting good reviews on this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's definitely a way to connect with the fans and let people just kind of peel back the curtain a little bit.
But I must, while we're peeling back the curtain, what happens is Dave does tell me, Dave chooses which ones he chooses the credit. But he's got to let me know the night before, because then I really I want to make sure I go back and I look. I got to put all my ducks in a row to remember little things. And most of the times I have some kind of story. This one's a pretty good one. So go ahead, Dave. You can introduce it.
So yeah, so it's Super Bowl week. Obviously, we're going football themed here. We could have went with your Papa John's commercial, which we could talk about in the same breath, really. But we're going with a really, really good movie. That listen. I'm a huge Mark Wahlberg fan. All of his movies hit for me. Like a lot of people are like, some of them stink. I'm just like, nah, man. Everything he does is gold.
Right. I like him.
But this one, unfortunately, is about the Philadelphia Eagles and Vince Papale.
Right.
It's entitled Invincible. So
Yes.
Jimmy, which again, I had to say, wait a minute, hold on, because you're doing the scrolling on your IMDb, and it takes a little while because there's a lot of credits.
Base
So
hit the center.
I get with a runner on. Um,
Down 8-1.
I get now you're officially fucking A-Rod. You're hitting those meaningless
On a
RBIs.
Thursday day game, getaway day. Palumbo giving you 6 innings.
I look at this one and I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen Invincible a bunch. Like, I don't remember Jimmy being in it. I was like, was he at the bar? And then Jimmy pointed it out yesterday, and it's an iconic scene of the movie. And I'll let you explain it because, again, one of the greatest football movies made.
It's a fun movie. Listen, whether it's one of those movies, it's funny, and you're gonna, as a Cowboy fan, that's the only thing we can really talk about because we both hate the Eagles, right? But it's really, even though he's Mr. Eagle, Mr. Philadelphia, whatever his nickname was, it's really not. It's about so many other things, and it could have been playing for anybody. The story would have worked. It was in 2006. It was directed by Erickson Core. And it's about Vince Papale. He was the guy. He was a bartender who, due to family stuff and they had open tryouts because the Eagles stunk, and they hired a golden boy, which was my line in the movie, Dick Vermeil, who was the head coach of UCLA, and he was making noise as a UCLA coach. And he comes in, and my scene really takes place when it's the first practice. And he's walking down the steps with a head coach. And we shot this at Temple, their practice field, which was not very nice. And I don't even know if it was their practice field. It probably was in the 40s, but it's like a recreational area. Pretty old down there in Philly.
I think that's the point, though. I think they went for that old.
Yeah, because it was. Well, it was in the early mid 70s. So he comes down the steps, and the assistant coach says to Dick Vermeil, like, "Hey, you ready?" And Dick Vermeil's like, yeah, we're going to work him hard. I got a whole plan here. And he's like, no, I'm not talking about that. He comes down, and there's like 20 Eagle fans up against a fence. And I think this is so fun. Even Eagle fans got to laugh at this. The guy's at his first practice, new head coach, and they're already screaming at him, "You suck!"
That is on brand,
right? And I yell at him like, "Hey, golden boy!" Right? That's my one line. Now, the funny thing about it was, in that crowd of guys, and I didn't know this because the show, it's good to be tied in from last week. The show Entourage it was just airing, I believe. I think it was new. And so while we're all back there, I realized that I shouldn't say everybody, a bunch of the guys in the background were Mark Wahlberg's Entourage, the real guys. Drama, I believe Turtle was there. There was a couple other guys that were his boys. Now, I got more information on all this. I actually talked to Drama, and I remember telling him, he was like, oh, man, I hope the show goes because, Mark Wahlberg's great to us, but we're all consulting producers. They're in the writer's room telling the stories. So I said to him, I was like, dude, because maybe 2 or 3 episodes had aired. It wasn't a huge hit yet, though.
No, not yet.
And I said, hey man, some of those stories, are they really true? Is it HBO? He goes, no, you guys, you don't understand. We're not allowed. We pitch stories that really happened. HBO's like, nah, no way. We can't tell that one. And I was like, oh my God. So I ended up asking, give me an idea. And he was like, I don't know. He goes, oh, I got one. He goes, we got set up. Madonna, I think this is I don't think I'm really breaking anybody's confidence. I'm sure it's been written about. Somehow somebody wanted to set Madonna up with Wahlberg. She thought Wahlberg was cute. So they all went to this place, and Madonna was going to be there. This is that higher end Hollywood bullshit, right? But Wahlberg went out with his 6 buddies. It wasn't like he was with his crew, very dedicated to his buddies, which is wonderful. And he's sitting there, and all of a sudden they're hanging out, and Madonna walks in. And they had a guy at the table, was I think from Vanity Fair. And they were hanging out with him and drinking and buying him drinks. They thought, like, this guy's cool, right? But press is the press. You know what I mean? So when Madonna walked by, someone, not Wahlberg, kind of went like, oh, dude, she's way too old. Like, Madonna was older. Wahlberg was younger. Well, next week's magazine comes out. And what do you think? Wahlberg calls Madonna old, blah, blah, blah. Cut to a year later, Madonna's doing that. What do you call that?
Vogue
thing, right?
Strike a
I
pose.
can't believe I just did that.
You did.
Okay, that was good, right?
That was great.
Running one hand and lays it up and then
Yep. Floater.
So he said they got invited. So they were like, oh, all right. He went with his 5 buddies again. He goes, we were like, we were tough guys from Boston. But we were like fun. We just we were drinking, trying to get laid. We were all young. We were single, not get laid. We were just having fun. We were not a nasty bunch at all. But we if called upon, we could be. You know what I mean? So the party was at Madonna's house. So they walk in with the invitation, and he looks at me and he goes, Jimmy, she's performing in her living room doing that Vogue, whatever that song is, right? I tried to do that twice.
Yeah.
And we walk in and we were like, oh, and they were like in the back, or like, what is she performing in a living room? This is nuts, right? There's tons of people, all A-listers in there. He says Madonna stops the routine when she sees Wahlberg. Okay. Points to the security guard and goes, get them out of here. Right? In front of everybody.
Wow.
So they were like, whoa, all right. But security guard comes up and he shoves Mark Wahlberg pretty hard. Right? And we're like, all right, whoa, we're leaving. Then another security guard, he goes, shoves me. And I kind of bump into Wahlberg. We're getting shoved. He goes, well, once I got shoved, Wahlberg saw me get shoved. We were like, okay, game on. He goes, there was a battle royale. Punches, he goes, Jimmy, we were 6 guys. They didn't have enough security. We were swinging, punching. He goes, they were huge, though. I got hit in the face. He goes, it was so much fun because we were ruining the event, which we loved. And they literally fought us all the way down the steps. I was getting thrown over railings, but like,
bro, you know what's crazy? And me being the Entourage buff that I am, there's a season finale of one of the seasons where when they get invited to Eminem's party,
probably based on the same thing.
And it's like they're all cool with Eminem, and all of a sudden, like he said, like Vinny Chase, Mark Wahlberg says something slick, and he's like, you know what, you and your boys get the fuck out of here. Next thing you know, this massive brawl completely breaks out.
The best part about
kind of crazy to me.
Best part about the real drama was he goes out because in the beginning he made it sound like they won the fight, but then he's like, oh, dude, we got beat bad. He goes,
they were fucked up.
He told me, we got down to the valet, our car was there. He goes, but you know when you get your ass kicked, but you're like, we went toe to toe with these guys, listen,
moral victory.
Madonna's security guards none of them are 5'5", 210. These guys are like the bouncers at DJs and Leggets, right? So he told me that, which was cool. And then here's another great one.
Great side story, but based off of Invincible, by the way.
I know it, but I'll get more to that. In the story, I mean, in the shot, drama, the real drama, he was wearing like sweatpants, and Wahlberg came by, right, and he saw it, and he went, no. He looks at the creative, one of the producers says, no. I don't want him in sweats. This is his buddy now, right? Next thing you know, the drama has to go back to the wardrobe, and he's wearing these tight jean, like Daisy Duke shorts from the 70s with a tank top. He looked like and then Wahlberg, this is why I love Mark Wahlberg. He was laughing at everybody like, you got in the movie, but you got to wear those stupid pants. And drama was like, just like in the show. He was like, I can't believe he's making me do this. So we started BS and having a good time. I did my line. Now, I got to tell you, I'll get more to Invincible thing. So here this is crazy for me. So what happened was the producer of the movie is a guy named Mark Ciardi, who actually my nephew works for right now. He produced Miracle on Ice, Invincible, Chappaquiddick, The Rookie. Okay. Probably no lie, 5 or 6 of the top 30 baseball movies of all time on certain lists. I'm not talking about Pride of the Yankees here, but that kind of thing. And he's also good friends with my brother-in-law, Steve Riccardi. They live in Somerset. They go up together in Piscataway. So everybody knew, we all knew he was a big producer, blah, blah, blah. So I'm living out in LA and I saw him over the holidays. And so he was like, I may have something you might be right for. So I get brought in to audition in front of Sheila Jaffe. Walken handled The Sopranos. Sheila Jaffe is a big time. I mean, she is a big time. Knowing any bigger than her back in the day, right? She's still around. She might be retired now. So I walk in. They got to remember, my friend's name is Mark Ciardi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mark's Wahlberg's first name is Mark.
Sure.
I go into the room. I got my little size, my headshot in the back, and she's sitting there all alone. It's kind of a good looking lady too, right? A veteran, a little older. So she'll give you innings. So no, she's pretty lady. I thought she was pretty.
I know. I just laugh at the give you innings.
Yeah, no, she's like, she was older. I was talking about 17 years ago. Actually, we were probably the same age. Who am I kidding? So I sit in the room and then I got my lines. I had like lines. I'm auditioning for this for the assistant coach of Dick Vermeil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so the guy who says, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" The story before. That's why. Anyway, so I start to do the read, and she's like, "What? Wait, what are you doing?" She goes, "You're friends with Mark, right?" I said, "Yeah. He went to school with my brother-in-law." Because she's looking at my resume. She goes, "Wait a minute, you're friends with Mark?" I guess all of Mark's friends, they're not in showbiz, right?
Right.
Whatever drama, Turtles name it. She's looking at my resume. She's like, wait. Now you got to remember, like, I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn, but like, I have 4 years with the Tigers, 3 with the Indians. Like, I'm in the league.
You're Mark Hart or Mike Hart, whatever the fuck his name.
Like, I'm not saying I batted, 265, a couple of ding dongs. 1 year Mo Vaughn got hurt. I made the All-Star team. So I'm just saying it was like, I've been on shows, whatever. And she's like, no. All right. I'm so sorry. Wahlberg told me that he was bringing some friends in. I said, no. Now you got to remember, Wahlberg is the star, right? Ciardi is the producer. So these are two big people involved in it. And I go, no, Mark Ciardi. And she went, oh, you're Mark Ciardi's friend. I got, you know who hires the casting director? Mark Ciardi there. So I'm like, she goes, oh no, Jimmy, I'm sorry. You're like an actor. You're going to come in. We're going to tape you. There was no camera set up. She goes, I got to tape you and all that stuff. So I come back the next day. I don't tell anything to Ciardi. So I'll come back the next day. No big deal. I figured I got a little interaction with Sheila Jaffe. She looked at my resume. Actors kill to have a big time casting director, producer, director, anybody look at their resume. I mean, it's like, if Joe Rogan said, hey, Jimmy, I listened to your podcast. It's that kind of thing. So I come back the next day and I thought I did well. I thought I played well. It was in my wheelhouse, I guess. A couple days later, Mark Ciardi calls me up. He's like, Jimmy, you got a call back. And I was like, oh, good. Like I've been on callbacks before. It was like, I was excited, but not like, oh my God. He goes, dude, you must be so pumped. And I was like, yeah, I was on ER, Friends. Like, this is what I do. It's great. I'm excited, but I'm not like, I'm hungover. I went out last night. I'll talk to you later, that kind of thing. He's like, no, you don't understand. I bring friends in all the time. They all suck. No one ever gets a call back. I said, Mark, this is a part that I can do, right? So I go to the callback, and the callback is in New York, actually, because the director was in New York, scouting, I guess, Philly. I don't know what they were doing. And so I go in with him again. It was just me and the director, and that's tough because he's in on the decision. And then I went back in L.A. for the final callback.
This is for the assistant coach.
Yes, because it would have been all 6 weeks on the film. I would have made nice coin. So
oh shit! Yeah.
I didn't realize that at the time, but you're getting on. Anytime you go on more callbacks, there's more money on the line. Any actors out there? Sometimes you go on an audition, you book it the next day. God bless America. You start getting callbacks. That means it's a bigger deal. They're taking more time with it.
Right.
Sometimes it means that anyway. Most of the time, I guess. So I go to this room, and like Ciardi is in the room with everybody, and his producer. There's like 7, 8 people in the room, and Ciardi's not really like he's not really being. Hey, Jimmy. It was like kind of like ice. It was an ice cold room. So I go in there, I do my thing, and a couple days later, I get the call, and he tells me, "Hey Jimmy, listen, you didn't get it." Yeah, I'm like, "Oh damn." He goes, "Yeah, it would have been cool." He goes, "Listen, we battle with the director. The director wants his choices and blah blah blah. And the producers have final say. And sometimes you got caught in we were not going with the director. And I knew if I opened my mouth, and so you didn't get it." But he goes, "I'll get you in the movie. I'll get you in the movie." So I was like, Then it turns out my good friend Michael Mulherin, who I auditioned with stuff in New York all the time, he got it. And he's a bigger guy, older guy, gray hair. He looks like an offensive lineman. He's got a bigger
Yeah.
belly even. He looks, you know what? And then Charlie told me another problem is you look a little bit too much like Greg Kinnear. And,
Oh,
and believe
the
it or
head
not,
coach.
not that I look like Greg Kinnear, but back then, if you were putting us side by side, not that we look alike. I'm not saying I look like Greg Kinnear, but you had to have you're gonna have like an offensive line coach. We should look different, heavier,
Mhm,
smaller,
mhm.
whatever the thing is. So I ends up booking me for 3 days in Philly. They put me up in a hotel room, and I'm playing one of these fans. And that's when I really got to, hanging out with Charlie and blah, blah, blah. And I got to see, he was telling me what a great guy Wahlberg is. He wants to do all his own stunts. And it turns out a couple weeks later, Wahlberg was making all the tackles in the movie and stuff. And he broke his arm on a
Yeah,
tackle.
I
And they,
read about that.
and they were pissed. They were like, "Dude, they have insurance, shut down production." Like, I don't think you'll see Wahlberg ever doing, but he was trying to be cool. Like, I'll do my own stunts. I played football in high school, whatever. But the cool thing was I was sitting there and everybody, wardrobe, everybody I dealt with, including the entourage guys, obviously, but they were all saying like, I was like, how was it working with Wahlberg? And he was pretty hot back then. He was coming off of something big. I forget what movie he did, but everybody was like, "Oh, Mark's great. Wahlberg's great. Wahlberg's great." And so I asked Charlie, the producer now, we went out for a drink after shooting or dinner or whatever. And I was like, hey, bro, what's it like working with Wahlberg? One day, I was looking for some dirt, like, oh, he's a prima donna, he's a jerk. He was like, Jimmy, this guy's unbelievable. He goes, he's a pain in the ass in this way. He's like, "Hey, we need hotel rooms. Like 20 of my buddies are coming in this weekend. We don't shoot Saturday and Sunday." So the producer now has to scramble to get hotel room. But Wahlberg said, "No, I'll pay for them. I just have somebody get them wherever we're going to be." Like, in other words, he was like, "No, just my buddies are coming in. You got to take care of them." But he was going to pay for everything. It was like nothing like stealing money from the movie. Nothing. A lot of guys do that. And he goes, and then Jimmy, he does things like he's so, well, listen, do you need extras? Because my buddies, they'll do it. Like, no, don't pay them. It's like that kind of thing. So, like, a couple of his buddies who I talked to were like, "No, I'm not doing it." I'm like, "I'm an accountant. I flew down here to bust balls, or
Mm.
drove down here." So he also told me this cool story. He said, "Let me tell you the kind of guy he is," because they were on the Temple campus. I believe it was the Temple campus. I'm pretty sure that. I guess the field was lower and the vans were higher, and you had maybe a decent walk. And when you're the star, you got to be in makeup, wardrobe. It's a lot of shit you got to do. Writer's room, even if you're that big. So they gave him a moped, but Wahlberg had security, a guy who was making sure he got in and out. But Wahlberg would buzz around, and there was always a guy following him and making sure there was no issues. They're in by Temple. There's not exactly a nice area,
Mm.
and so this security guard brought his son to one of the shoots, and his son was looking at this like probably gorgeous moped looking thing, and the son was like, "Oh, Dad, that's so cool. Look at that bike." He's like, "Yeah, they're really cool." At the end of the shoot, on the last day of shooting, okay, Wahlberg went up to the security guard and said, "Thank you so much. You were great. You did. Thanks for keeping me safe, blah, 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 blah." And he just handed the keys and the moped to the security guard. He's like, "Mark, what do you want me to do with this? Bring it back?" He's like, "No, it's yours. I actually bought that." He's like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" He's like, "No, your kid said he liked it. Take it." Like, he just gave him out of nowhere, probably a $5,000 moped,
That's awesome.
whatever they're priced. I don't even know. But me, it was one of the, and Mark was like, "That's the kind of guy he is." Like, he's a no. And I haven't read anything about him. And I'm not talking about actor things and preparation on sets. That's who you are as a pro. I'm talking about how you are, like, during downtimes. And I have not read a bad thing about Mark. I don't know if you have.
No, in fact, like I said, he's one of my favorite actors because of a lot of the stuff that it just seems to translate. He's a big religious guy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
very into his
Really
religion.
good friends with Mark, Dominic Lombardozzi.
Yeah,
They
man. And like,
they did a movie together.
yeah, and like I said, I've never heard one bad thing about
I
Mark
haven't heard
Wahlberg.
boo about him, and you don't see him in the. You see him in the news every now and then, but you don't. He's not. I don't know. Listen,
And
I
such
don't.
a crazy big entrepreneur. He's done so much stuff outside of just acting. You know what I
And I
mean?
can
Like
only
clothing
imagine.
brands and all that crap.
Right. I can only imagine. I can only imagine how well some of his friends did on Entourage. I'm sure they were all got a few dollars, consulting producers and stuff like that.
Oh well, they've had a couple scenes in the actual show. I don't know if you
Right.
knew that, but
The only thing I didn't check, I should have. Did any of those real guys go on to work on other shows? That would be really cool. That's really helping your friends
I'm
out.
not sure. But it was one time. There was one scene where Wahlberg's walking down the hall, and Ari, obviously Jeremy Piven's coming the other way, and Mark Wahlberg has his entire crew behind him as extras.
Right.
And he goes, one guy, he's like, "You need something? Ask this guy." He goes, "If you need this, just ask the hamster." So the hamster must be Turtle. Like
Right.
he used
Okay.
like his buddy he called the hamster
Right.
translated into Turtle. So
Okay.
I think that's just the coolest shit.
It's cool stuff.
When
Yep.
you can like intertwine that kind of shit, like that's the stuff that fascinates me. I think
It-
that's awesome.
Listen, no doubt, it was a great experience. I still get residuals. I got to meet Vince Papale. He was on the set, and Chardy treated me like gold. Big shout out to Mark Chardy for really taking care of me. And plus, my nephew's working for him now. He's moved into like not feel good movies, but a different along the lines of the movies he's made, movies that are inspirational, kind of like The Hill.
That's one of them.
The Hill
That's
thing.
one of them, though. I would say that's one of
Oh,
the
for
more
sure.
inspirational movies.
Sure. But just great experience. I didn't make him, and I got good money from it too. Working 3 days, you get a day in, day out. So I didn't book the big dog, but I had some fun with and my buddy Tommy from the bar and grill down in Forked River. His brother AJ is a huge Eagle fan, so I got some swag, and I got all these like it looks like it's Eagles, but it's really for the Invincible movie.
You talk about you talk the same thing for you, like in that feeling, like, "Hey, Jimmy, here's a bunch of Eagle shit," and you're like, "Ugh," but like what? Ask Steve Venditti. The last couple days of my internship, I was like brought to the equipment room, like, "Hey, Zamboni." Yes, they called me Zamboni because that's what I did on the side. I drove a
Right.
Zamboni. "Hey, Boney, you wanna some of this stuff?" And like they would just toss me shit, and I'm
Right.
just like, "The
Well,
fuck am I gonna do with any of this garbage?" Right? But listen, I got a lot of cool
I
stuff.
couldn't. I didn't know. I was like, wait a minute. I'm never going to wear a green hat. It didn't say Eagles. It said maybe it said it had like Eagle non.
Maybe
But
it
the
just said Philly.
Eagles were in on the movie though, so it was like half Eagle, but it was green. It was you know what? It would have been maybe your son Miles because of the green is Jet fanship. He could have won.
And
But
that
I
all
sent it
comes
all. I
full
sent it
circle.
all to my buddy AJ, Tommy's brother. Because I'm like, what? He's an Eagle fan, so God bless. It was just an awesome experience across the board.
So before we get out of here, just because we're on this football theme, I do want to lump that in. I didn't even think about lumping it in, but you did a massive Super Bowl commercial with Peyton Manning and Papa John's. Like, talk me through that because that's got to be one of the coolest.
No, first of all, I booked this job for Papa John's. I'm playing a referee, and the spot was that there's they're making a mistake with the pie, and I blow the whistle, and so I got a great story on that. So I'm there, and I don't know if you've ever, well, you have, I guess, in rec world, a real ref's whistle or a good rec whistle is the loudest fucking thing you've ever heard. If I blew the whistle right now, my phone would crack, your ears would hurt, and people talk about, no, I need a buzzer. Now, just blow a whistle in your face, right? So I had this whistle, and it was a big, heavy NFL ref's whistle. And I'm like, all right, now I had to go right over his shoulder and blow the whistle. And I know from being an actor, whenever you blow a whistle, they shove shit in the whistle, and you blow it, you only hear, and then they in post they drop the whistle.
I was just gonna say they have to do that in post, right? You're not blowing a whistle in this guy's ear.
So I go up to a guy on the set who will remain nameless. I still don't know who he is. I go, hey, you know, I'm kind of close to his ear. You want me to blow? It's Peyton. You want me to blow this whistle? He's like, this is what the guy says to me, dude. He's an NFL quarterback. You don't think he's heard a whistle before? Okay. So I come around and I'm doing my holding shitty pepperoni on whatever the hell it was. And I blow the whistle, and I'm 3 inches from Peyton Manning's ear. I almost knocked him out. He was like, whoa. He looks at me like I'm a jerk off. And I go, dude, I told the guy, And then all of a sudden the producer and I said, I told him I knew it was going to be like this. And he's like, oh man, I think when my so Peyton Manning has hearing issues, Jimmy Plum will cause it. But here's the best part. He was still playing. And he had to lean over, and I had to walk behind him with his leg. His legs were like, but he had one leg kind of sticking back. I tripped on his legs, and I thought to myself, "You imagine if I blew out his ACL, my fat bastard self?" But it gets worse. It gets worse. So I hear him doing. He's famous for movie lines. Remember the rumor that he used to give offensive linemen tapes you had to watch. Anyway,
Yep.
him and his brother are big on movie lines, as am I for certain movies. Okay, so I'm sitting there, they're going on, and we start talking, and he's like, somehow Beer League came up. And I goes, oh, you were in Beer League? I goes, yeah, I love that movie. Yeah. And so he knew a line from Beer League, you're the guy about it 7. We have a nice little moment on the set, whatever. So he started doing lines from Goodfellas. And back in the day, I was pretty good at Goodfella lines, But the trick when you're doing lines, this is for, I love educating my fans. The trick for doing a line for a movie is not to do the lines that everybody knows. It's those side lines that you have to pick up on it. And when you do it, you bomb. You bomb a lot because people they want to hear like the major lines. But it's when you do a sideline and someone gets it, it's like you're a friend for life. Friend for life, right? So he's doing the different lines, and I said, "Hey, Peyton," I said, you know what? No, it's a really funny line in the movie when I said when the Italian guy is signing off on the restaurant. Okay, he's still an actor. He's acting and stuff now. Matter of fact, he's friends with my guest next week, Paul Borghese. He signed it, and he just goes, "It's a fucking shame. It's a fucking shame," right? So all I said to Peyton Manning, "It's a fucking," and he started to laugh because he knew what I meant. Now, we had about 100 more takes to go. Commercials, you do take after take after take. Every time they yelled cut, now you got to remember, I'm literally like making love to Peyton Manning. I'm hovering over him. Every time they yelled cut, you know what I said? It's a fucking shame. Okay, with that, so he starts laughing. Then he blew a line, and he looked at me and goes, "It's a fucking." We must have said it's a fucking shame 100, right? So I had him fucking crying. Then I threw in my, other lines from me, like 2 phone calls, this place, a car wash. I hit him with every Jimmy. I was like, he wasn't ready for me, right?
No, he was not.
I had him laughing so hard. He literally had to compose himself because one of the fucking shames came in, like my timing was perfect. Right? I think we did it. The camera was rolling. The guy's like, the producer's like, we can't use that. I'm like, yeah, I know it's a commercial for Papa John's. You can't say it's a fucking shame. Like, why doesn't anybody respect me? Like, you know what I mean? 6 hats, 7 teams, 9 years. So the so with that, Peyton Manning leaves. He says goodbye and leaves. Producer comes over to me. He's like, Jimmy, come here for a second. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking, Jimmy, you were fucking around doing the fucking shame. Classic Jimmy Flubbo. I was ahead on all 3 cars. Judge Ramirez from Mexico City, right? I had to win.
Split decision.
Yeah, right? He goes, what were you talking to Peyton Manning about? I'm like, oh, yeah, we're just doing lines from movies. He's like, no, what? But really, what? Now I'm like, what am I getting? Inquisition here? No, I was doing a line from the scene in Goodfellas. It's a fucking shame. The guy said, I'm explaining, when you explain it, it's not nearly as funny.
Right. Like
this guy is a producer. The fucking guy hired me, right? I don't know who he is. And he's like going on and on. And then he looks at me, he goes, that's weird because, we've shot a bunch of commercials with Peyton. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's good. He goes, he never laughs like that. He never talks to a cast member like that. I'm like, good for me. I was like, we had made a connection.
Well, isn't that a fucking shame?
Yeah, that's a fucking shame, right? And he was like, no, it's just weird. He really liked working with you. Boom. Cut to everybody saw it on TV. It aired during the NFL games. It was great. Of course, it only aired like 3 months. If it aired like 6 months, I'd be living in a house. So I 2 years later, I book an audition for Nationwide, right? And I book it. They don't tell you shit. I play a cook in a thing. So I get there, and we're on the set. We end up at a shitty Denny's just outside of like North Miami, like not a nice area, regular like shitty Florida that you don't see on TV. The people that say I want to move to Florida, I said I'll tell you exactly where to go so you don't move there. So everybody's like, you know what I mean? It's like Orlando. Oh my, I wouldn't live there unless I was getting paid tremendous amount of money. So I go there and I just bashed Orlando, but I don't have many fans there. So I get in there and I'm like, I thought it was just going to be a person in the background, a quick, there's no lines. I get the call sheet and it says, and they're listed, the cast is always listed. And I was like, I don't know, I was like ranked 7th in the country at the time. It's like all these different names, right? And I knew some of the other people from I know that girl. She was on Rescue Me. That was cool. And number 1 just said PM. And I went, so I go up to this AD guy. I go, dude, is PM Peyton Manning? And he goes, well, yeah. I'm like, oh, all right. So next thing you know, he makes a big announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, Peyton Manning is now on set. Please do not discuss football with him. Do not approach him. And I'm thinking, that's not how Peyton Manning was on the last set. Like, that's not who he is. I was like, so I'm thinking, I think Peyton's going to remember me from, it was only a year before, right? So Peyton Manning walks on. Now, you got to respect the AD who said don't do anything. So Peyton Manning walks in. He's like, hey, everybody. He's well aware that he's Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? He's aware of his brand. I'll leave it at that. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Good to see you. Like real nice. Everybody's like smile, blah, blah, blah. He looks at me and he points his finger. He's like looking at me. And I was like, I said, the referee, the public, he goes, oh, yeah. Right away, fucking shame comes out. He's like, hey, he gives me a hug. We start, and I realize, I'm doing exactly. And all the other cast is like, this asshole is, but Peyton Manning was hugging.
I was going to say, it wasn't you.
Peyton was talking to me, right? Gotta get Peyton Manning. Now, here's the kicker. Peyton Manning had just won the 2nd Super Bowl, so he tied Eli, right? So here I'm going to be sitting down, and I'm quarter of my eye, I'm like, oh, that AD hates my guts. He'll never hire me again. But fuck him. I'm talking to Peyton Manning, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So I start talking to him. I said, listen, Peyton, I got to be honest with you. A lot of my Giant fans, we were big fans of your brother, obviously, but we were rooting for you. We figured that'd be nice, 2-2. The Manning brothers won 2 apiece. Even though I didn't tell them that Peyton Manning basically handed the ball off that game, didn't do much. He was the reason why they could have lost it, actually. But no,
Cam Newton's the reason why you lost. By the way,
but he was older. Listen, Peyton Manning, one of the best of all time, and he looks at me, he goes, yeah, what's with you Giant fans? He goes, you Giant fans think I hate my brother. He goes, now you got to remember, this would be like if I told you, Dave, like you and your brother hate each other. You'd be like, fuck you talking? Yeah, of course I'm always smacking him in the back of the head. We're yelling and screaming. Like, he goes, he's my brother. Like, I get along with my father, my other brother, like my nephews. My Eli comes, like, he goes, but we're not, Eli lives up there. I live down here. And he goes, but, we see each other on the holidays. It's like, we watch football together. He goes, but when I'm at a game and I'm watching Eli or Eli's watching me, we watch games differently than you guys do. I'm already going, all right, 3rd and 7, see when you get that. He's already like, he's 7 plays ahead, and that's how good he is as a quarterback.
And that's why they have a show together.
That's why they have a show, because they're way ahead. He's like, Eli, you got to look at that guy. The linebackers went to the left. All those intricacies of being a fucking top NFL quarterback, that come when they do that. And he goes, but like when he wins, I'm excited, but we don't, even when you win, we smile and celebrate, but we also keep an even. It's just the way we are. You know what I mean? We're privately, we're very excited. I wanted my brother to win the Super Bowl, beating Tom Brady. He goes, I know he wanted me to win, and he was very it was such a cool little 2-minute conversation. I realized, you know what? I don't know Peyton Manning personally, but you could just tell he's a good dude. And even Venditti with the Giants says, no, Eli's a good, some of these people, they're stars though.
I've met Eli working for the Giants a couple times, and
he's a nice guy.
The nicest dude I've ever met. And so dry, humor, funny.
Yeah. And he's funny on his show. So that was so I booked 2. What are the odds? I booked 2 Peyton Manning spots. To this day, funny. I swear to God, it goes like beer league. It goes Friends, beer league, and like 3rd is Papa John's, and I even had to sing the song "Chicken Parmesan," whatever the hell it helped.
Yeah.
Now I'm singing a song. By the way, the Denny's we were in is next to a college. I think Florida International, Florida Atlantic. The kitchen of a Denny's, the amount of grease. The kitchen was clean. but the amount of grease that is just coated over like the light switch, the floor. I was like I could have done the electric slide on that floor. And so I started talking. The real chef was there because when we left, they opened up, right?
Mhm.
I said, "What's your busiest time?" He's like, "Well, Sunday mornings." He was like, there was a huge stack of eggs, not the 12, those ones that are like 24 in the square,
Crates, yeah.
all the way up to the ceiling. Okay, and I'm like, he's looking at me. I'm like, "Yeah, we shot on a Saturday night." He said Sunday morning. So he goes, I go, "Oh, you must be crazy on Sunday." He goes, "Yeah, between the late college kids coming in and the early people going to church and everything." He goes, "See that stack up there? We go through all those eggs." And I was like, it was the most amount of eggs there was more eggs in that stack than there are in Ramsey, New Jersey. I mean, there was, you know what I mean? I was like, and then you start appreciating. He goes, "Yeah, we make like 1,300 pancakes." He goes, it was like, you don't realize it.
A lot of
So,
grand slams out there.
yeah. And then you realize, like, I told him, I said, "How do you guys clean the kitchen?" He's like, "Oh, well," he goes, we never close." So he
That's
goes,
true.
you can only, what we do is we rotate a cleaning crew who work there. They're not a cleaning crew. You just do the best you can. Just like you can. And anybody who's ever tried to like clean a kitchen stove after you made something shitty and greasy, you
That's
just
like,
do it. Yeah.
that's such a funny comparison. It's like if you were a Family Guy fan, Cleveland. He talks about the game of life. Yeah, and
Right, right.
he goes, "Oh, how do you win?" He goes, "You don't win. You just try to do a little better each time."
That's exactly
That's
right.
it.
Exactly what it's like. So yeah, I mean, obviously this story went on long, but one we got to get to the rest of the show because I got to do quick. What do we got here? Oh, we didn't even do. You know what? We said Cornhole Level sponsored that, but we really didn't do the ad. Go to cornholelevel.com. 20% off your entire order. These things are right here. Those of you who are sitting home watching or listening, it hooks right on. Dave, you had issues with your cornhole for years now.
Mm.
Hopefully, LeBron James will come to the Knicks, and I'll straighten out his cornhole. But if you go to cornholelevel.com, you hook it on the hole of a cornhole board. It levels it perfectly, the exact way that the League of cornholepeople.com, whatever the hell that is, wants you to do. They're 20% off if you mention JP Show. My buddy Mike Caprio runs it. He's a good sponsor. Cornholelevel.com. They even have team logos in the middle of them. Every week he gets a different team. So cornholelevel.com sponsors that. Also, don't forget Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. Full service opticians. And now, normally I rattle off Ray-Ban, Coach, Ralph Lauren, Jimmy Choo, Silhouette, Michael Kors, Vogue, Costa Del Mar, and I always make a joke. I say, and Charles Oakley hangs out there, blah, blah, blah. Turns out, my research team here for the Jimmy Plumbo, which is just Dave, finds out he doesn't do any research on the card, but he will do research when the Woodbridge Brewery, which is literally 15 feet away from the Absolute Eyewear, Charles Oakley will be there this month, or is it this Sunday?
In March.
In
They'll be
March,
there in
Charles Oakley will be at the brewery, which technically, I can say that Charles Oakley is at Absolute Eyewear. There's no doubt
I mean,
about
it's
that.
in the vicinity. I mean, you got to be able to say it. How funny would it be if we could just get him to go walk over there and take a picture in front of it? How fucking funny would that be?
I wonder if Janine they must know the guy who works there.
I know. Listen, a friend of Chop Sports, Scoop Espo. If you remember Scoop, his brother-in-law is one of the owners there, I believe, because he's going to hook me up with a meet and greet.
Yeah, but
with
dude,
Derek
you know
Jeter.
what? These guys get paid for. I
know. They don't want to be there any
remember
longer
me
than they have
because
to
I
be.
did the Artie Lang show with Charles Oakley. He sat right next to me for an hour and a half, and he's the one
really?
Charles Oakley. I'll give you again. We're going long, but who cares? Charles Oakley. I made the joke. Artie said, like, "Oh, Charles, if you played today, you'd foul out in the first quarter," and he went, "No, no, not at all. You're wrong." He was explaining how the way the game is played now. He didn't go after a player. He would wait till the players came. Like he was explaining from defensively how he would not have been. He goes, some of the fouls would have been. I fouled hard. He was really broke it down. He was like, no, you guys got me all wrong. And then he was very like he explained the whole Dolan thing. It was very. He was like, but he had the funniest line. He goes, we weren't saying anything. He goes, and then a security guard put his hand on me, and he goes, Well, when you're at Madison Square Garden, you don't put a hand on Charles Oakley. I was like, Oakley getting involved. But he was a really nice guy, really mellow, and he a lot more knowledgeable about basketball than I thought. He kind of threw Patrick Ewing under the bus, but
Did he?
yeah,
Wow.
a little bit. He was saying like Jordan was a leader, Ewing not so much. I'm like, all right, calm down.
Interesting.
I was ready to ruin Artie's show by going, hey Charles, who did you play for when you were with the Bulls? I forget his name. Do you remember that one guy? There was one guy who was good. You remember that guy? Yeah, you was.
I gotta check that show out. I had no idea that already
it's
had
cool.
Charles Oakley.
But that was off the thing. But he was a nice, cool guy, very classy, very well spoken. Real quick, the show Loudermilk. Have you started watching it yet?
I told you I watched like 2 episodes and I haven't really got into it.
I finished season 3. Let me tell you something. I'm a big fan of the comic Brian Regan. And when I first saw him on the show, I'm like, all right. Of course, I immediately.
Oh, that's right. He's one of the guys in the rehab
so
center,
was
right?
Jackie Flynn. Of course, I think I might have auditioned for that part, but I was never going to get it because Jackie's friends with the Farrellys, and Jackie's a great comedian and great on the show. But man, listen, he does some. Brian Regan does some really amazing. When the show gets serious, talking about drug issues and stuff, and the scene with his daughter. Oh, Dave, you're going to relate to it. You're really going to relate to this scene. Imagining hurting your daughter in a way, and your daughter hurting you, and it's one of the more. I think it's one of the more powerful couple of episodes, or really one episode, really of. I think you're really going to dig it, and when you see it, you'll know it. You're going to text me right away. I know you will. You can even probably skip to. I think it's the last 2 or 3 episodes in this season. Great show. I'm also in season 2 of Reacher.
There we go.
Which Dominic.
You seen your boy Dom? Dom's killing it.
I just started only one in, so Dom is there. I can't wait to see his stuff. Now, I did watch last night Killers of the Flower Moon. Did you see that yet?
The hell is that? No.
It's up for Academy Award. Martin Scorsese.
You know what? Not for nothing. A lot of those movies that are up for these best pictures, and this happens a lot. If you're not in Hollywood or no, some of these movies you never even know that they even released. Honestly,
DiCaprio, your attention,
I love
please.
Leo. I
now
love Leo.
In the film Killers of the Flower Moon, Leo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, directed by Martin Scorsese.
All right, time out. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I just haven't seen it. Now I know the movie now.
The movie is 9.5 hours long. Listen. Whenever I talk about a movie, I hope people understand. I want to be in all of them. I need to be in them. I need to feed myself, my daughter, right? Marty, you can't make a movie 3.5 hours long. It was slow moving. You know what?
Irishman-esque.
It's the Irishman Part 2. No question about it. I just couldn't dig it. Anyway, I'll go on further at another time. The Grammys. Very interesting. I don't know. The one thing about the Grammys is great. You know why? The Grammys let you know how old you are. I watch the Grammys and I'm like, oh, this is funny. I don't know who any of these people are until they bring out like Billy Joel or Celine Dion, who sounds like she's a power forward for the Canadians. And I just don't understand. Like, I don't know any of the artists. I don't know. And then all of a sudden there's album of the year, record of the year, song of the year. I'm like, what the fuck? I actually Googled and here it is. Record of the year has the word record in it. And that goes to the producers, the engineers. That goes to everybody, even the place they recorded it. That's what that's for. Song of the year that goes to the writer of the song. A lot of times it is the performer, but
Taylor Swift.
There you go. Taylor Swift for 3. He's got it. And then album is the whole thing. Now, I don't think anybody
Taylor
knows.
Swift again. Okay.
People like record album. I don't know any of these bands. All I know is what's her name? Miley Cyrus walks around with no clue. And you know what? I'm getting so old. I remember she was like this young hard girl. You know what? She might be moved she's a year away from pitching in the bullpen. No doubt about. How old is she now?
Miley Cyrus is one of my biggest crushes. Like, I love Miley Cyrus. Like, I love
sure. But you know
Miley Cyrus.
I tell you what, she's got a lot of innings under her belt now.
Yeah, dude.
But anyway, the Grammys. I don't know. All I know is I'm in love with Dua Lipa. She's the hottest thing ever. And you know who Dua Lipa bought? She brought her dad to the Grammys.
That's
Natalie,
awesome.
If you're out there listening when you're 45 to the show, and if Natalie, you ever get invited to the Grammys, you bring your dad, I'll be so proud. Can you imagine Dave, can you imagine your daughter when she wins an Academy Award, or when Miles goes to the big Jet convention when he's head coach of the Jets, he's going to bring his father there, and you'll wear an asshole cowboy hat.
Go. It's full circle moment. Entourage. There's an episode where they have to go to the premiere, and Vinny Chase chooses to bring his mother instead of like one of his skank from L.A.
You see how they completely bring it back to Entourage and Vince
All the
McMahon
callbacks
here at show. Also had a couple of auditions this week. Hopefully, I
can you disclose or no?
No, not yet. So it was like 3 of them. One of them was pretty big, I think. I also, the Colonial Penn spot, we don't know if that's going to air just yet.
Super Bowl.
No, it's not a Super Bowl spot. I also had, here's another funny thing. A friend of mine, James Kanowitz. Again, I love when a fan just hits a quick 3 to start the game, So Jerry Gerard will say Knicks up 3-0. That's so funny to people. It's the funniest thing I've said, really. I brought it up last week, but anyway, in the scene in Friends when I'm with Debbie Mazar and she's pregnant, James Cannon sent me a note saying, "Your child would be 22 today." So the child of sick fat bastard and Debbie Mazar is 22 years old this year. Isn't that funny? Wow. That's a funny text to get.
Debbie Mazar, also an Entourage.
Also, it's Entourage Day here at the stadium. Also, I had a health insurance scare, health insurance scare. We had like 70,000 strikes this year. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So I have to qualify for health insurance for me and my daughter here. It's a serious thing for me. It could cost me thousands. And I've been blessed, knock on wood. I've been qualifying, but I didn't know there was going to be strikes this year. But early on in the year, I worked on that show Daredevil. And just from that show alone, I was able to qualify for my health insurance. Big deal in the Palumbo household. Big deal in anybody's household. How many times do people say, I took a new job. Health insurance doesn't kick in for 30 days. Well, the acting world's even different. The insurance it's Michael Jordan insurance, but you have to earn it every year. And every January, your score goes back to 0, okay? So I figured by May, June, boom, I won the game. Game over. I'm already done. Good evening, everybody. Jimmy Palumbo Health Insurance Day here, right?
You're the post-game press conference.
I'm doing my taxes Saturday. I'm buzzing around, and I see a check's coming in. And I'm like, I hope the check counts for this year. I'm looking up. I look it up, and on the screen, the official screen, right, it says that I'm short the amount for health insurance. And I'm like, whoa, no way. I'm looking back, and all of a sudden, there was all these negatives. It was like Daredevil money, positive money, Daredevil right below it, negative. Like they were erasing Daredevil. And I'm thinking,
now, is that because it didn't air or something?
I don't know. It is going to air, by the way. So,
all right, good.
The show's still going on. I don't know about me. So I'm like, oh my God. So with that, I was throwing up. I was like, oh my God, I can't.
And that's where the 11 pounds just went.
Exactly
folks.
right. 11 pounds. I lost 11 pounds
Saturday.
And then, so I'm like, I have to wait till Monday, and it's 3-hour time difference. Monday at 11:30. I was on the phone with my mother. She's like, I'm doing a novena for you, a mayhem at the Palumbo house. I go Sunday afternoon. I check I said, I got to go on. I got to take a screenshot of this. This is brutal. And all of a sudden, it shows that I did make enough. And I'm like, what? So I
took all the throw up, but I took it all back in, and I ate my face off on Sunday.
I went out and got 7 cheeseburgers for $45. So I got this guy on the phone.
McDonald's.
I got this guy on the phone Monday from the Screen Actors Guild Health Fund.
Did he get bitter, Jimmy?
And he needed to talk it over after 5 minutes on the phone. He called a quick timeout. I took an 11-1 lead. It was. I was like, dude. It says I qualified in June. I relaxed. I let all the kids play. I didn't play any Sunday day games. I was like, this is it. I'm out. He's like, well, sometimes our servers have to. I was like, no. I said, how do I know? I don't trust this. I'm yelling at him. So he says, no. And he sent an email to this guy. So he corresponded. So Jimmy Palumbo, starting April 1st, still
fully insured,
has his insurance for him and his daughter. Big deal.
Thank God, because I know all the people listening to the show are very concerned.
Oh, very concerned about my health insurance because the money I make off this show alone. Actually, I think this money, this show cost me my health. I also,
what about the other day? What I did today, I was like, just give me $50. Yeah, sometimes I just don't have 50.
What? So bad.
Jimmy Palumbo, what?
Jimmy Palumbo's got to move. Man. I got to move money around. As soon as I love educating my audience. As soon as you say, I got to move some money around, that means you're fucked.
I've been told that. I've literally been told, "Hey,
Of course
can
you
you
have.
take care of this invoice?" "Yeah, I just got to shift some fun." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
here
well,
we
I'm not
go.
getting
I
paid.
just
That's it.
listen,
I'm not getting
as
paid."
an actor for 35 years, I've been moving money around for a long time. Usually, it may be a call to my mother, "Ma, I'm in a gym." But, I know
Wow.
me and Dave had a laugh over when you send when you send the Venmo, notice to people. You said I'm pretty good. I do pay
Ah,
you. Yeah,
it's
yeah, I'm
lightning,
pretty
usually
yeah.
lightning fast.
I
Yeah.
get 'cause I wanna get it 'cause I have to make sure where my number is, you know what I mean? But I laughed at the different texts. "Alright, yeah, when I get home, I'll when I get home." What do you mean, yo? It's all on your phone. There's no
Yeah,
getting
you're
home.
right the fuck here. Like, it's right on your phone. I
I
promise.
love it. It's all about
Uh, and
nothing
not only that,
funny.
making it easier for anybody who doesn't know. Like, I run Jimmy's social, but I also run a lot of other people's social accounts. So, like,
Right.
I have a nice little client list, but like, I make it so easy. I actually send
It's
you a
every
request,
Friday. Thank
and
God
it's
you do it.
Friday,
I'm
and I
glad you do it
send
on the same day. It's
yeah,
important.
I send a request for the exact amount that you owe me. So it's not
Right.
like a guessing game, like how much do I owe? Blah blah. Blah. You know what? All you got to do is approve,
Okay,
and I'm paid.
by the
That's
way
it.
by the way, I'm about to give you a rash. By
Uh-oh.
the way, you have to send me an invoice of what I paid you for the year. Do you know that? 'Cause
Of course, I knew that.
when I do
I
my
ha- I
all
can
the oh,
just
you know what?
I
Listen,
can pull them all
have
up.
no,
It's
listen to me.
easy.
No, don't be we'll figure out the amount, but literally have Miles get a green crayon and write, "Dear Jimmy, you paid my dad such and such for
No, I
2023,"
can't wait.
and
I'm
sign
gonna
it in
give you that. I'm gonna
crayon.
give you that amount. I'm gonna give you that amount, and you're gonna be like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, well, no, I need it because that's a write-off for me. You kidding me?
Oh, perfect.
Listen,
Okay.
the things you learn here on the Jimmy Palumbo Show.
Educational day.
That's it. I want to give a shout out to Pine Tar Bar and Grill in Forked River, best sports bar in New Jersey. Also, Lisa Ruane, 201 725 1251, licensed therapist. And also a special thanks to her for helping me out with a friend of mine. And that, I think, well, nice little long show here.
It's all right.
That's it. That's all I got. Super Bowl. Dave, real quick, who do you predict? Are you doing that on another show?
No, no. Actually, Jersey
Who do you
Boys has
wait?
been
Time out.
delayed.
Let's do it the fun way. Who do you want to win? Who are you rooting for?
Reluctantly rooting for the 49ers.
Okay. Who do you think's gonna win?
Somehow, some way, Patrick Mahomes is an underdog in this game, and I think he's going to take that personally. I think the
Yeah.
Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. I really do.
Okay. And they're getting
It's
what,
fuck.
3? Is it
I
3?
think it's maybe like 2.5, 3, or something like that.
Okay. So my nephew's gonna kill me, but I love him anyway. I'm actually rooting for the 49ers. I don't think they're gonna win. Just Mahomes got his helmet looks like it's 5 feet in the air. He looks
Yeah,
bad.
it's just
And it's you know what another thing, by the way, Kelsey, Mahomes, Taylor Swift. There's a big fat fuck on the sidelines on the Chiefs. His
he's
name is
pretty good.
Andy Reid. You know what? Andy Reid, decent coach.
A little
Decent
bit,
coach
a little
over there,
bit.
like a little bit. And we got to mention, is Kadarius Toney on the roster?
He is, and it's so funny. His latest quote, which because all media had to
He's
start
bashing the
opening,
Giant fans though.
he's bashing the Chiefs. They asked him, "Are you the number one receiver on the Chiefs?" He goes, "Yeah, if I get the
Great.
ball."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
What are you
"What are you
doing?
doing?"
But I'll
Like,
tell you one thing.
I'm sure Mahomes is gonna be looking your way a whole bunch on Sunday. Like, what are you doing, bro?
But in my opinion, Kadarius Toney single-handedly won the Super Bowl by
Last
running a
year.
punt back or a kickoff
He
back
had
for
2 big
80
plays last
yards,
year.
and
Yeah.
he caught the touchdown. He was wide open. But he was also my favorite player because you know me, he is the football
How
version
all
of
right,
the
you
Johnny
ready to get sick to your stomach just based off the Chiefs stuff? Obviously, the Chiefs have a chance to win the Super Bowl. If they do, there's some sort of rumors that Andy Reid can say, "You know what? I've done enough. I'm all good. I'm going to
But
retire." Now, if he retires, rumor has it that there's a
Cowboys.
guy, you may have heard of him. His name is Bill Belichick. He might be looking for a job. The Chiefs might go from fucking Andy Reid to Bill Belichick.
No,
God
that's a
help me if
oh
that
my
happens.
god.
Can you imagine?
By the way, the other Bill Belichick's son who played lacrosse at Scarlet Knights is now what is
He
he?
took another job, yeah.
He took another job with Harbaugh. Yeah,
Not that Harbaugh,
Belichick.
by the way.
By the way, did you see Belichick and someone I saw? He had yeah. You know what? Listen. Bill Belichick's one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the best. I don't know. Maybe it's time. I don't know. And even Andy Reid, like, don't you have like kids and grandkids? Like,
I
after a
mean,
while,
Andy Reid's story is a little different. I mean, he's got a
how
lot of
old is he?
backstory, but I mean, they're all up there. Him, Pete Carroll just got fired.
Yeah,
Belichick stepped away. They're all like, there's a change of the guard happening, and it seems like there's a youth movement. But you got McCarthy still out there. You got these older coaches that are still out there. So I guess we'll see. The official offseason starts Monday, man. So I'm pumped about that because the Cowboys officially become relevant again.
What if Dable shits the bed this coming year?
Belichick.
He'll get the job, you think?
It within a New York minute, Jimmy. You will have Bill Belichick
I'm
full circle.
aging Bill Belichick, but
Yeah.
he's gonna look like Grandpa Joe running around. Like, what is he like? You know?
I know. He's gonna literally look like the guy from Willy Wonka, just like who can't get out of bed, and all of a sudden he springs out of bed. You know,
With this show's going horribly long.
I know.
Here's another great one I read online and follow because I get basketball sucks besides the Knicks like Rutgers. I was buzzing around with these Yankees trades that they make of guys I don't know who they are.
A lot of
But when you go to these blogs and he's like, rumor is Giancarlo looks like a young Stallone now. I heard
we're talking Rambo Stallone, not Rocky Stallone, Rambo Stallone. So now you know what he looks like.
I am just like I predicted that the storyline with DeVito would be popular in a couple, I called that early.
Aaron Boone has literally went public and said that he needed to change his body structure.
Early on in the season, Giancarlo is good. And listen, by the way, if you're a baseball fan, if you're a Yankee fan who hates Giancarlo Stanton, that's fine. I get it. He's hurt. All you got to do is just Google, and Dave, you got to do is if you're like stuck waiting for a train or something, just Google Giancarlo Stanton home runs on YouTube. Dude, you got to watch some of these home runs.
And the whole world's talking about Judge.
Golf shots. He hits golf shots, and you got to listen to the. I know I've said this on the I don't care. It's the color announcer that goes. The play-by-play goes deep drive left field home run. Wow, and then the color guy's like, oh wow, wow, that was.
That was a missile.
Well, I've never seen a ball hit in that area of the park. Like, and they're little subtle. Ever. They're little. It's like little subtle. Like, they find that.
But it's so funny because the world's talking about Aaron Judge and the world's talking about Juan Soto, and everybody kind of forgot about Giancarlo Stanton.
Maybe they'll bat him like 7th at the bottom of the order.
Right? Because it's going to go 2-3 Judge Soto. So let's see where Giancarlo falls.
I hate to extend the show, but listen to me. Juan Soto. Okay, wait, I'm going to ask this a twofold question. Am I going to love or hate Juan Soto?
You're going to absolutely adore this kid.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to hate him. I'm going to hate him.
Nah, he's a young. Wait until you see his stance. Oh, dude.
I don't know. I know nothing about him. I didn't even know who Juan Soto.
That's ridiculous that you don't know anything about him.
A restaurant you go to and you order.
No, dude, you're going to love when he steps up to the plate. You're going to
So you're going to be all over him early.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to be watching those bad games, the preseason games with him and the.
No, he's going to be hitting off 500-foot bombs off a guy who's going to be bagging groceries next week. But that's okay because you're going to hear that fucking loud smacking the ball in the bat.
You're telling me Judge, Giancarlo, and Soto could be like all together? That would be awesome.
And the only one that raises red flags is Giancarlo because the guy's hurt all the time.
Right. He's going to change his body type and blow out his calf like May 8th.
Running for a routine double that he's just going to have to gun it because he's jogging around first base and he's got to pick up the pace a little bit and then he's going to slide like this.
Okay. First of all, by the way, did the Yankees fire that third base coach? Is he gone?
I think so. I don't know.
You know why? You don't send a guy who runs a turtle around second. He couldn't run.
You remember that shit? Oh my god!
He should have never have sent him. What do you? No. I think he did that as a vendetta. But everybody says Giancarlo. I heard this that he's not a jerk off in the clubhouse. I've heard that.
No, he seems like a team guy.
Like a really team guy, and he's not a prima donna. But the Yankees have him for what, 3 more years? Talking about his age.
Feels like an eternity.
He'll definitely end up on the Mets. All right. That's it. This is a long show. We went too long, but it's all right. And that's it. Good evening, everybody. And a shout out to Pat Volkemer, who drove a truck to a movie set in Austin, Texas, and got caught in the rain. Pat, you're going to laugh off the road. All right. We'll talk to you.